Hi everyone and welcome to episode 3. In this episode we're going to try and add some styling to our page because it's starting to get a little bit boring. But first of all, I'm going to try and introduce you to another tag that I didn't introduce you into in the last episode, and that's the div tag. The reason I didn't introduce you to that before is because it doesn't actually do an awful lot by itself, and let me just demonstrate that here. So if we just add div I am a div, not literally of course, and just refresh that. There we go, I'm a div. Right, so the purpose of this tag is just to basically hook onto, so you can add a class to it and add your CSS. I mean, obviously you can add CSS to all these other elements as well, but they contain default attributes. Whether it's a div tag, it's just a block level element, and I'll get into what a block level element is later on. So let's add a class to this, and the way you add a class is just the same way as you've been adding the other attributes, like the href tag here, or the source tag there. Attribute, sorry. So let's do that. So class equals quotes, and we'll just call it my dash class for now. And in order to add some styling to this, we're going to add a style tag in the header. So just come to your head tags there, style, and then in order to target the class, you're going to put a dot. Now if it was an ID, it would be a hashtag, but we're going to get to that later on. So let's do a class first. I'll call it my dash class. So there we go. As you can see, we've got an opening and a closing curly brace, and that's just it works the same way as the tags. Really, it just contains whatever's inside there to tell it that it's part of my class. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some padding to the div. So padding 20 pixels. So we've got a colon there, semicolon there, and the semicolon just ends the line essentially. You'll see that a lot in most programming languages. We're not going to see much of the padding without a background color, so let's do that. Background dash colors is plain English, colon, and then we're going to have a hexadecimal value for the color. And if you don't know how hex value colors work, I'll explain that just in a minute. So if we had a hashtag there, and then hex is just 0 through to F. So yes, 0 through to 9, and then A through to F. F being the highest value and 0 being the lowest, obviously. So we're going to make this red. So it goes RGB. So F for the highest value for R, for red, and then 0 for G, for green, and then B, blue, 0 again. So that's going to make it red. And just let's have a look at that. We'll save that and have a look. So there we go. Red box. It's full width. We'll get to the reason why it's full width in a minute. So let's continue adding some basic styles just so you can kind of see what they do. Let's make the font bigger. So font dash size. Make that 20 pixels as well. Save that. Let's have a look. There we go. Slightly bigger. And then font weight. Bold. Change the font family as well. To Homa. Just have a quick look. There we go. Now you'd think if you were to change the font color, it would be font dash color, but it's not. It's just color. So that might catch you out. But there we go. Let's make this blue. So that would be 0000 FF. There we go. Now if you want to get accurate colors, the easiest way to do it would be to get a color picker and just get the value from that, but we're just going to do this manually for now. So there we go, it's blue now. And let's just add a border to a box. This is another one that's slightly different, so border, and this takes three values, which is why it's different. So we'll do 5 pixel border. It's going to be solid, a solid line, and let's make it green. So 00 FF 00. And refresh that. There we go, there's our green border. So that's some basic styling. There is obviously a lot more than that, but what else we can cover is going to be block and inline block level elements. And by default, a div tag is a block level element, and what that means is it's going to take up the width of the container that it's inside. So because this div here is it's not actually inside anything other than the body tag here, it's going to go to the full width of the page. Now if it was an inline block, it would just take up as much space as it needs, so it would cut off here. And where that's relevant is, as you can see, like the link here, that's an inline level element because it doesn't cause anything to break to a new line, and a block level element will, because it just expands to the full width of the page or the full width of the container that it's in. So let's see an example of that for now. So if we add another copy of this class here, and because this is a class, you can have this class applied to multiple elements. So let's just see an example of that and refresh there. So because it's a block level element, it's going to push the content down here. If we change that, so that's the display attribute, and then inline dash block. There we go. We can see that it's only going to take up as much room as it needs. This image is an inline block level element as well, so that's why it's moved up here. But we can add a break in there if we want. That's a block level element by default, and that's going to break it down here. So yeah, there you go. So that's relevant because if you wanted to do, well, if you want to put anything beside each other, it's going to be an inline block like that, unless it's got a fixed width. But we'll get to that. And things like links are going to be inline block level elements. These titles are block level elements. But you'll pick this sort of stuff up as you go along. So that's that. And just before I go, I'd like to take a second to thank my sponsor, a2hosting.com. I actually use them for my own VPS hosting, and the reason I like to use them is just because they allow you to scale things like the disk and the RAM independently, unlike some of the competitors. And their support is just fantastic as well. So if you're in need for a decent host, then follow the link in the description. And thank you for watching.